Test. And it's 4 o'clock. And hello, hello. On sunlight on. The sunlight is on. Sunlight on chaos. Hello, it's Stephen Olivieri, and thank you for joining me. I just got in the door. So a little scurrying around. I couldn't even get out all my emails that I wanted to today. But in any event, hello, hello. Happy Veterans Day. Um, and to all. So here's the deal. Things are so crazy lately that so today I'm just going to follow along a little bit with Nicole Wallace on MSNBC in a little bit because she's saying just some things that are just so choice that just go bam, bam, bam. And today I had to go to work because I have to make money like other people, for food, for rent, the whole gamut that everyone's so up in arms about. So I tried to slip in some work. Um, and from, let's see, 8 to 2 ish, 3 ish. So in any event, and it's real work. It's actually my work shirt. And look, I didn't even have time to take some paint off of my hands. I actually really did work today. See that? So like, I actually do work in the skilled trades and for going on 40 years. And so why do I bring that up? And it's real. This is not just a clean t-shirt. Look, it's all dirty. See, it's real. I just came from this job site. Trying to do what other people are trying to do because everybody is so crazed trying to figure everything out. And what about their jobs? What about that? So let me get up the chat here. Let me just hit chat. Okay, do not be shy about chatting and about anything today because this is like go off day. I think we all know about how ridiculous it was that the eight Dems just sort of caved. And look, cave schmave. The problem is that nothing really got resolved. All it did was flip the possibility, maybe, of the ACA subsidies to maybe be dealt with in mid-December. Maybe. And Johnson wasn't sounding like he was having any of it today, yesterday. Whatever. He's a little, pinwheel, this guy. So I would like to get to some good stuff for a minute. Like to do a shout out to my friend Bruce, literally maybe my oldest friend of all time. He just texted me back. I wonder if he'll tune in any event. Um, he served in Iraq. So he's my age, but I've known him since before I was 10 years old in those little baby years. And until this day, and he served in Iraq, and boy, did he take a shitload of fire, etc., shrapnel that he's had to deal with throughout his whole life. So it's not a great thing for him to have that deep an amount of injuries. It's just I wish him well all the time. In any event, and then of course just to touch off too, we might as well get into the big schnog, Donnie Darko, who has not gone through a wreath laying here and made fun of troops over there. I think something that is so sick about him and the troops is that, like, you see Fox going off like, oh, troops, oh, it's everything's about troops all the time, and that's great, that's fine, but a lot of them are so like this, they're just like smiling and sort of, I just, it feels false, so much that goes on over there. And then to talk about anything with him to do with anything today is it's about the vets is disgusting. So I'm not going to connect the two other than he can't connect, and I'll leave it at that. But Bruce, my thoughts are always with you. And my father was a vet. He was quite a bit older than me, so I'm going to say a few things about him. And he is not with us anymore. And I learned a lot from him over the years. He was sort of a hands-on guy. He was a commercial artist, really good at what he did. I just took to some general contracting, painting, and stuff, and went on to get a film directing degree, etc., and do other things. I wasn't quite as good as he was by a long shot at commercial art. That's really fine art. You know, he did lettering, gold leaf on banks and the back of boats and all kinds of, trucks and all kinds of lettering and things. A lost art, pretty much, just about. But anyway, I dug up some photos, and I put this one purposefully here so I wouldn't forget about it. Put on my glasses. Oops, sorry guys. Audio. And this is literally like going back over 80 years, right? Back to the war. And so they all rather tried to do their piece, and either they were on the front lines or other things. He, like Rosie the Riveter, he did a lot of pop riveting of sheet metal on airplanes for World War II. And but he had other talents, and he was an amazing. Wasn't amazing. I knew because he ended up giving me his clarinet, my first clarinet, and he was an amazing clarinetist and saxophone player. So this is back in the war. Not sure exactly. The cactus is misleading, but he was stationed up in Anchorage, and but he does have the fatigue, the war clothing on. So this is let's see if I can do this right. Him, okay, and he's leading the band. So sorry, I'm so close to the audio mic, and with the other guys in the band, and this is what they were doing. They were trying to entertain the troops, So that's him, and I learned how to play clarinet from him, and I was classically trained for 10 years. And so I actually know how to play this quite well. And was I going to wear a penguin suit forever? I had to make that decision at some point. And I chose not to for whatever reasons. I was in the music department. I was in the film department at Purchase College, State University of New York. So I was doing a lot of different things. And he's got another photo here. And this is when they're getting rowdy. Funny little drawings here. And they have a female vocalist. Again, this has got to be in Anchorage. Full band, and he had what he called them a big sidemen that came in. So like really big saxophone players and trumpet players and singers. And now I can't quite figure out why in the world he is wearing friggin' sunglasses. But maybe because he's playing sax. I mean, he said he was an awkward kid. Had to take care of his mother. So then I couldn't resist with the clarinet. So I'll put this on. And after that, I took up saxophone. Yeah, baby. All right. Yeah. And I'm bringing this up for a reason. And because it has to do with the arts and things like PBS and NPR that are getting cut. Right. So that's one item there. And God bless to my father. My mother has also passed. God bless my mom as well. And so yeah, I mean, so he was in the arts and pop riveting sheet metal in the war, and so it was quite an interesting vet, I guess. No Purple Heart, but he did what he could from his angle, and that's I think an interesting thought, maybe a lesson for today about doing anything people can from wherever they are at. Who am I? I'm his son. I did things in my life that made a couple of movies, renovated a lot of houses in my day, and including today, because doing what I can and just trying to get by. And so we're all trying to figure that out. And with the subsidies and everybody, the the 8 Dems crashing, it's like what your mind can just go into a tizzy, and depression can seep in. And I mean, I've always thought I've been one to, be prone to depression. I've never been diagnosed with it, but I think anybody can get depressed. You can get seasonal affective disorder called SAD, right? And those New York winters. Sorry, it's so cold the past couple of days, guys. Warm it up there. It's going to warm up to like today, tomorrow, rather, and hopefully you'll be feeling a little better. Maybe a good chunk of the reason I moved out here to LA. That LA's got its own personality to deal with. But one of my sisters, one of my beloved sisters, gave me this book a while back when I was really sick last year with getting over an arterial aneurysm. Right, and she gave me this book that's pretty easy to read, Stand Strong. And it's a lot of little stories, little short stories about people standing strong in the face of adversity. Right. So I've gone through a bunch of these. I thank her for giving me that. So Veterans Day, they did, World War II, of course, going through all the wars. One of my elder brothers, he was in Vietnam. My friend Bruce, I mentioned, and other people I know that have served. I did not. So my hat's off to them today. Right. So God bless all of them. So getting into things, and I'm going to bridge and digress into different things. But speaking of service and vets and so much violence in the world, right? And I wrote this screenplay, as I am wont to do, called like 7 years ago, called Violence for Everyone. I just call it VFE. And I've been really, 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 really sensing things going awry after, my God, his friggin' first inauguration. I was back in the trenches in downtown LA with this lovely woman who I don't know where she ever went and who she is, but she held up my little sign that I did the march like 10 years ago. And we will trump the chump. See how I took his name and I used it on him? Trump the chump, the grump, the great Fatsby. Marcy, good one. The great Fatsby, all right? Because that's what he is. He's a Fatsby. That's being nice. So I marched now on. I obviously on the 18th, just last month, I marched in 2 back-to-back marches, doing what we can do, right? What can we do? What can we all do? So that's one thing. There's many other things. Trump is talking about all the stupid things, and just like to knock stuff off, I like whip through stuff and then I miss it and then it goes away and I can't grab everything. So I'll write it down and then it flits into wherever. Then I'm like, oh, I got to back up and try to find that footage. But he was talking to somebody on the other network and talking about the White House. Oh yeah, a lot of people have done like things in the White House, because people. And he said this. I swear to God, he said this. I know he did. I'll find the footage. Maybe you heard it. He said, "Oh yeah, they tear down. They do this. A basketball court. They expanded. They've disbanded." So I caught for a second. I was like, "What? What is disbanded? Is that an antonym for expanded? Like some people have expanded things in the White House? Not quite like this. They've certainly renovated it." Ta-da! And he said, "Oh, they've expanded and disbanded." Disbanded. So this is where we are. Okay, this is why we have to because we're getting soup and salad and bullshit from a man who doesn't even use the right words. A word, that's not even a word. So he's confusing enough as a human being, nasty enough, shall I say, evil enough, but he's illiterate enough to say disbanded. Expand the East Wing, disband it, you friggin' idiot. So, I was getting despondent yesterday, and I'm like, we're gonna keep on. It's like this just soup and salad of crap every day. But so, and then the Dems, cave. So now it's like we have to go really nuts if they can even hear this, they have to hear this in mid-December. Take up the ACA subsidies, and didn't get it the other day, but so they're saying, put it up for a vote, blah blah blah, and between now and then, as soon as they're back in office, we have to call these people and say, you guys have to do this. Call all the ruby red Republicans, the senators, the congressmen, the representatives, and dial in there. You can do that. And some of the assistants will take messages. And maybe when they get back in, maybe they'll actually pick up the phone from the assistant. So I know, because when I go, I'll talk to them directly. I'm not afraid of any of these Republican representative and senators, these jackasses. So this is where I feel like it's got to go, because if we're like, and we keep laying back and this and that, no, we got to get in. And I've said this all since I started this podcast, blastcast. That's what I like to call it, a blastcast, about that you can go online.gov and find your representatives and your senators. They all have these phone numbers. There's a switchboard for the senators. The representatives have their actual exact numbers for each district, each rep in each state. So I say, go out of your state, go out of your comfort zone, dial some numbers up, have a notepad on the side, just dial some stuff off, write a script, go in. The main thing is about the subsidies for the poor people that I was talking about yesterday, who are already paying $1,000 plus for a little family of 3. And if that doubles, whoa, food, WIC, SNAP, this, that, okay, that's going to just go bananas. And what are these people going to do? What am I going to do? I had to go to work. All right. So, and then try to come and do this. So, I appeal to all of the better angels out there who are, if you are able, and I'll hold this as still as I can. And this is the actual original site where I started this. It does have a video of me talking about this whole situation and Sunlight on Chaos. And if you shoot that with your camera, obviously, it'll take you right to the site, and you can copy the link. And I just ask you to share all of this with anybody that you can, if you like the show, possibly share it with. So that's a major, major, major thing, because I have to keep going too here, I was talking about Nicole Wallace. There is something, a little housekeeping. This is interesting, I think. I'll make a prediction. I was going to try to look it up and Google the crap out of it, or, AI it. MSNBC, which is obviously Microsoft NBC, affiliated with NBC and Universal and all that, will now this weekend become MS Now, MSNOW. So don't get all freaked out if you're an MSNBC person. It's going to go to MS Now. So they're changing their name. But I bring this up because I'm wondering what happened with NBC. Okay? Enough trouble with ABC with Jimmy Kimmel. Enough trouble with Stephen Colbert on CBS. Now what's going on with NBC? Watch out, Jimmy Fallon. Watch out. There's a drumbeat, I feel. But anyway, so MSNBC is still going to go on as MS Now as of Saturday. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's enough going on with Trump and his Fox and frauds in the morning and throughout the day. I like to call that morning show Fox and Friends. I call it Fox and Frauds. All like smiley people talking so much crap. I watched so much yesterday, and I'm like, it's almost a pleasure to go do some labor, because to listen to these people talk garbage, they're almost like so giddy and like fake. It's just, they're not serious. It's like they are echoing how unserious Trump is. Okay, so Fox, whatever. I keep bringing them up. They're going to come after me, right? Except I'm not regulated. Ha! You can knock on my door. Go for it. Come on, Fox. FCC can't regulate me yet. You know, if I go big, hey, I'll I'll still I'll still call you guys out. I'll just do it in a more legalese way. Notice something, and again, I'm doing this a little off the cuff because like I said, I just got in off of a job. I just noticed something about the Voting Rights Act. When you hear about the Supreme Court, all you hear now is like they're just it's like who's pushing them from behind. The grump, Trumpelstiltskin, and they're just not making great decisions. And we have to hold them to account too. Talk about setting up big protests. I think in mid-December we should be protesting all over the place. Maybe I'll try to hitch a ride and get down in Washington and stand outside there. I still have my sign, and from this last March, the March, 2 marches I was in. But so he brings up here's another pile of gulag crap, whatever that means, because you don't know what it means. You don't know what he means. That's why he's a pile of gulag. All right. He's now but like such an ass. He's talking about 50-year mortgages. 50-year mortgages. All right, maybe we're all going to be like 145 years old and we can just, knock off a 50-year mortgage. Well, guess what? 30-year mortgages are a big deal enough, and some of them just go along, and then some of them go fixed rate, and then some of them balloon up a lot at the end, right? I almost sounded like I'm doing a Trump impression. I think I'll work on him a little bit. And it may take, because it's some cockamamie idea that he's saying, it would end up being like $200 less a month to start. There's the deal, to start. So, okay, if you're going to pay a mortgage of $1,500, okay, now it'll be $1,300 a month with a 50-year mortgage. So the whole thing's so crazy to design it, to implement it, to get it into gear. Like, this just is every day comes up with more crap, right? Like this. So, and the interest over that time period would just explode by nature, even fixed rate. It's the whole thing. And who's going to live that a friggin' 50-year mortgage? So maybe, they're talking about the average rate of people getting a home right now is like 40 years old. Oh, yeah, take out a 50-year mortgage until you're 90 and see what happens when, one or the other of a couple, then they have to sell and turn it around. It's just garbage. So I'm going to leave that alone. But when you hear stuff like that, you got to brush it off, flick it off. Okay, everyone? It's just garbage after garbage after garbage. So ACA, I heard he's sticking Obama's presidential portrait that they took out of the East Wing and putting it in a back hallway by a bathroom. Maybe his newly, done bathroom with the marble. Like, we care about that, I don't do marble, by the way. So I wouldn't do anything for him. Shafting all of his people for so many years. So he's like this pig. He's like just the life of a pig. That'll be like my new book, Life of a Pig. So because if we don't beat him down, all this garbage every day will just beat us down. And sometimes I'm like, am I going to do a show today? And then I get home and I'm like, you know what? Of course. But then I got tired and I got to bring it all back together. So it's a daily thing, I think, for all of us to keep our energy expanding, not disbanding. Guy can't even use words that are real. Break. So in any event, I'm going to play through on, I love Nicole Wallace. She's funny. She's got this like drone in her voice and sort of can put you to sleep a little, or me, because it's so lovely and it's like a lullaby, because she's talking about events and she's sort of like talking like this and everything, and her voice is probably shot from doing so much of this because she's always very busy, but she says the goddamn right things. Okay, so I'm just gonna let her roll and I'll pause and then make some comments. And I love that she starts off with talking about you can't plaster over stuff. So she goes to like the building metaphors. So I'm all about building today. Okay. Plus, boy, don't we need affordable housing? I'm all for that. Boy, I'm pretty goddamn good at it. although I do a lot of restoration. So restore and then get people in. I'm talking to my landlord about that right now, actually. He's got some empty apartments. I want to convert them for people right in my own building. Think about that one. I hope he goes for it. He's a little older now. We'll see what he says. I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, here's lovely Nicole. Let me get her going.
All the marble and all the gold in the world cannot plaster over the fact that the American people, by and large, are furious at Donald Trump over his failure to tackle their number one issue, the rising cost of everything. Watch what happens when reality comes to bite Donald Trump in the you-know-what during an interview on Fox News, of all places. Watch.
I have been all over the affordability issue today and for the last several months.
They just say they're trying to grab this affordability word. I mean, give it to Mamdani. He coined it the strongest. We all know what affordability means, or needing things to be affordable. But look how they try to scrape at it. Look at what an idiot he is about this. And Laura Ingraham, that little fox freak, she's trying to play level to a degree, but even she can't. She's trying to wiggle and move, and he smokes her ass right now. Check this out. Even tough Laura Ingraham, whatever. She can't even barely wrangle this nonsense in. Whoops, excuse me. Okay, let's go.
Eggs, gas, a dinner cost for Thanksgiving way down, but other things, as you noticed,
No.
have gone up. Beef, coffee,
they're gonna come
auto
down very
repairs.
shortly.
Is this a voter perception?
No, it says who? See, this is the weird thing. He's like, oh, no, they're going to come down shortly. So she catches him a little bit, right? She catches him. And what does he do? He just tries to climb out of the box any which way he can, right? I mean, think of these tiny little things that creep into the nation's, whoever's watching, subconscious, if you can even stand to listen to him anymore. And he's like, oh, no, but they're going to go down. He's got a stupid answer for everything. He's so inarticulate that he just beats stuff back, beating a dead horse. That poor horse. That poor dead horse. All right, let's move on.
Perception issue of the economy, or is there more that needs to be done by Republicans on Capitol Hill, or
You
done
think?
in terms of policy?
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats.
Do you hear that? I mean, these things go by. They just go by so fast. It's just, the gravy train of gulag. Sorry, I don't mean to keep bringing that word up, but it's just the gravy train of shit that it just keeps going. Every single thing out of this guy. It's like, it's sort of non-interesting to even watch him anymore, but to try and stay on top of his insanity. Because, that's all he's got is just this steamrolling of garbage that we all know, but it's like, it's still going, and it'll, we got a big year coming up. We have to hold him down and get to these midterms, no matter who's screwing it up along the way. We'll get there.
Laura Ingram's a lot of things, but even Laura Ingraham knew the answer to the question she asked. And Trump could shush her all he wants. He did. But rising prices isn't a con job cooked up by Democrats, and Laura Ingraham knows that. The price of beef is up 14.2%. The price of coffee is up 15.3%.
Yeah.
CNN reports this, quote, prices increased from January to September in 5 of the 6 overarching groups of grocery prices tracked by the federal government's Consumer Price Index. Donald Trump has never, ever, ever had a grasp of any of the facts, but particularly those.
You see how she's sort of like, she's subtle and she just even keeled. And then she goes, never had a grasp of any of the facts. She's throwing out major statements there. Think about that for a minute. She's like blowing chow on this orangutan. All right.
Around the cost of things for normal people, or even the realities of the way normal Americans live.
Normal.
Here's what happened when Laura Ingraham brought up some of the pushback to an idea floated by Donald Trump recently. It's the idea of a 50-year fixed mortgage.
I know I spoke about this.
A significant MAGA backlash, calling
Look
it
at
a
that.
giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging
Look,
the time it would take for Americans to own a home
86%
outright.
interest.
Is that really a good idea?
It's not
No.
even a big deal.
Look, might as well have his face, freeze his face like that, like shit-eating grin. It's not even a big deal. He talks. What amazes me, and I got to get some quotes that are so stupid. It's like, as a child, some really, I don't know, just like an animal speaking.
I mean, you know, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it
30
means
to
is you
50,
pay.
Yeah, what?
Don't
on.
tell me you've never applied for
40
a
to
mortgage
50?
without telling me you've never applied for a mortgage. His inability to even get the 30-year fix thing of the answer right.
Right.
You go from 40 to 50 is a real slip of the mask. And it reflects this yawning gap now that everybody knows about, even his base, between Donald Trump and every other living American. He's becoming more and more of a liability by the day. On the same day that food assistance was set to
Hey, look at
expire
that.
for more than 40
New
million
marble,
Americans,
the great
Donald Trump
Fatsby.
posted these pictures, basically of his like DIY
So
reno. Look what I
what?
did. I renovated the bathroom and the
Whoa.
Lincoln bedroom. It's now covered
Hey.
in statuary marble instead of its
Sort of looks
historic
crappy. I don't
design.
know. Look at that gold crap.
Hours after
From
that,
the
he
80s.
held an actual Great Gatsby themed party. This is not some
Fatsby.
smear that the Democrats put on his party. It was actually called A Little Party Never Killed Nobody and had a Great Gatsby theme.
Party.
That happened
yes.
as 1.4 million federal workers went without a paycheck.
Yeah.
And while that was happening, Donald Trump
Imagine that.
continued bulldozing and trying to build his giant gilded ballroom constructed on top of the now demolished East Wing, a priceless part of America's collective history.
Mark my words for a second on this. What I think might be interesting is there's going to be a number of contractors. Now, he's going to have to be really on his toes about this because if, first of all, it's got to go flawlessly. Second of all, is anybody talking about the bunker underneath? Like, what's going on with that, people? Or Trump's people? And watch this, because if he screws it up or hit the contractors in a year or so from now or two from now, let's see if everybody gets paid. Okay, they seem to have the money for it. Of course, I think we all know the stories of him in Jersey in the casinos and stiffing all of these contractors. It's like Contractor Day. Okay, and how did that destroy certain people's lives? And it was just awful. And people were going broke, and they'd work and extend themselves so far, and then he'd come up with his excuses. And of course, he went bankrupt, 6 times? So let's move on with Nicole. Ugly. Ugly. It's disgusting. Sorry. I didn't show you that. Sorry, I didn't go back to the cam. So gaudy is a compliment. What is his fascination with gold leaf? My father worked with gold leaf when he painted bank doors and stuff. This guy just wants to put, I'll bet it's not even real gold leaf. Maybe, because it's all about money, right? But I would love to have been around, or I would love to go there and like scratch off part of it. So when I want to go, when they start having visitors again, and I'm gonna like maybe walk over. I would like to just scratch at it and see if it comes right off. Maybe it's just gold paint. That would not surprise me.
Donald Trump and his crew of uber wealthy cabinet officials and billionaire tech bros keep telling us and showing us that they couldn't give a rat's behind that the American people are screaming at the top of their lungs about their economic anxiety. They make clear over and over and over again that.
Just look at that. I mean, I don't buy these. I guess that's Time on the left making fun of him. Time magazine, if that is Time, I don't know if he thinks that's cool or if he knows that, or he looks like a complete joke. And then, of course, the this famous one of this asshole flying in a jet and dumping crap feces on half of the country who was protesting. I think most of you have seen that, and so he hates half of America. He doesn't give a shit about half, okay, or more, maybe more, because he doesn't care about vets, right? He called them suckers and stupid and this and that. Veterans Day. He should hide his head today, asshole. Anyway, so let's see.
They don't care. This is a president who posts images of himself wearing a gold crown. He's done it multiple times.
Sick.
These are not things made up by his political detractors.
It's not funny.
These are images he concocts or grabs onto and then posts himself. He likes them and wants us to see him in a crown, surrounded by gold, renovating bathrooms in the White House after he demolishes the East Wing to build a massive ballroom for himself and says out loud, this is our, quote, top priority.
Top
And his
priority.
Treasury Secretary, wow. This is what a $600 million Treasury Secretary gets you politically.
So
Watch
do you
this.
believe the idea that voters are saying affordability?
Sorry, just watch him stumble. Watch him stumble. That's all he's doing, because he's trying to figure out. He's trying to hyper intellectualize stuff, and he's trying to figure out how to keep Trump in a workable box. All right, because it's almost impossible. Vance stumbles around. They're all stumbling at, certainly the Speaker of the House, little spaz man, is stumbling and just, he's like a school kid being pushed around. But anyway, let's see what he says. Let's watch him try to stumble through this. Reasonably smart sounding man, but my God.
Is a problem for me as a con job?
I believe even this morning you had two people come on and say, well, I look at the price at the pump and I know costs are up. Well, gasoline's down. So that is.
No, it's not. Out in LA, it's still for something, anywhere from 430, 450, 480. You go down a certain street, it's 535 a gallon. So look at him squinting like he knows everything about the entire country. Well, you should go west, old man, and find out what the gas prices are in California. Yeah, we get some taxes that, everybody grumbles about on the gas. But don't say like it's down. It's not down. It's just stumbling and staggering around the price of gas out here. Maybe some people have it better. How's that to impact your budget?
Is a con job, and I think that's what's frustrating.
So you don't believe that all the people who went to vote last Tuesday on the issue of affordability, my rent's too high, I can't afford to buy a house, groceries are too expensive, you think they're just misperceiving what's happening in their lives?
I think that that we inherited an affordability crisis.
Okay, it's like you want to throw a brick at the TV, or in this case, the computer screen. Inherited. This is what they do. This is what's so also sick about Trump. He can't get on with his own life, okay? And he keeps saying, oh, Biden was the worst president, And then this guy comes right along. We inherited. Well, really, you inherited something? Okay, you inherited a ton of good stuff that you ruined. And it's been 9 going on 10 months of what are you going to do about any of this stuff, guys? Don't say you inherited stuff. It's yours now. Idiot.
Does anyone think Scott Bessent has ever pumped gas?
Probably not.
A wildly out of touch Donald Trump and cabinet trying and failing to gaslight the American people on the cost of living. When it comes to his failure after 10 months in addressing the rising cost of living is where we start today.
And so that was just her. That was just good old Nicole. It's called Deadline. Oh, it's right. It was there. Deadline White House. couple hours in midday. That was just her getting up to speed, right? So bear with me. Let me move something here. And she's trying to make heads or tails. It's like the intelligent people in the world are trying to make heads or tails of the onslaught. So it's sort of like, if you guys have any good ideas of, I'm going to take some clips from these shows. So I might start saying more outlandish things and get more excited at times, because I want to throw some really randy, rowdy stuff onto a reel and then flick it over to TikTok. There's Facebook, Instagram, X, blob or snore. And then, there's, all the sites. So, and then TikTok, whatever, that's sort of wobbling, but everybody still does it. But, short of robbing a bank or something, which I'm not sure I'm going to do, I'd like to get really viral and get going, because I think this year, either I want to work with Beto O'Rourke or Gavin Newsom or whatever, and, get these campaigns in order. These campaigns have to come forward, move, and squash. Okay. It has to be, and this whole year coming up needs to be a turnaround, because instead of him, the orange virus, as Paul, you said that, give me that one, infecting everybody for what, the next 3 years? Really? No, it's got to be like where we grind the wheels the other way, the other direction, so that he's on his heels all the time, every day, about everything. And he needs to be tested on every single thing that comes out of his mouth, like like the word disbanded. Well, they've expanded and disbanded, and shut the hell up. I smile, but I don't smile, and it's like when I get done with the show, it's weird, because when I build up to this show, this rage, this energy starts to build, because I'm pulling all the pieces of a, show together. Thank you, Nicole, for taking over a lot today, because I was at work. But, it's like, keep him on his heels. Everybody. Hegseth, another maniac, right? Kash Patel, another maniac. Pam Blondie, keep her on her heels. Supreme Court, keep them on their heels, of all the institutions. My God, Supreme Court. We have to constantly, that is the goal. The goal is to turn things back to our way, meaning normal people, right? Not insane, crazy thieves and oligarchs. Bernie said it. What did he say it 1,000 times? And the senator from Vermont, and here it is, right in our faces. So, with that, guys, that's the idea, because we can't get through another year or 2 or 3 with this sort of dogged dialogue of dumpster deviousness. That's all it is. These guys are making hand over fist. It's the big rampage. So we have to get big on a big rampage and do whatever it takes in each of every one of our ways of coming back at him, them, it. Right? So to all the vets, that's amazing. Some still alive, 100+ years old from World War II and all the other wars. It's so sad we even need to be in wars at all. And maybe once this guy's out, we can get to real stability, because right now he's just a loose cannon, a crazy loose cannon. And we have to stuff that cannon full of aluminum foil or anything, and stop the spouting. I think I've made my point. And he was no vet. He was no fucking vet himself. Bone Spurs. Yeah, we'll leave it at that today, Mr. Bone Spur. So thanks for watching again, everybody. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. It's free. Please subscribe. and share this with all your friends, because all of us together will make a move. We will stand strong. And, there's more of us than them, him and them, his cronies. So thank you again, and a good night to all of you. Thank you.